Now we have Siraj Hussain, former Agricultural Secretary, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Hussain, what is your first reaction to the story? Aiming to double the farm export by 2022, what sort of impact and what sort of policy decisions will this need?
It is a good initiative of the government to bring all the ministries and the state governments on the same platform so that the policies and the implementation done by the states and the central ministries is conducive to increasing the exports. However, I must say that Indian exports are not highly diversified. The rice exports, basmati rice export is about $4 billion, non-basmati rice export is $3.5 billion, and both of these are, in my view, under challenge because now the European community has reduced the threshold of trisilazole, which is one of the fungicides used for cultivation of rice. So that is a big challenge, and the farmers and the rice industry has to rise up to that challenge. Secondly, our another item of exports is buffalo meat, another $4 billion. We have seen in the recent past, last 3 or 4 years, lot of violence against the traders of animals, as a result of which there is an atmosphere of fear. Even though the total quantum of export hasn't gone down, but there is a possibility of increasing it if we can tackle foot and mouth disease, because right now Indian buffalo meat does not go to US, EU, etc., not even China. So if these, the barriers put up by these countries are tackled, it should be possible to substantially increase the export of several commodities. The major thrust of this policy is on increasing the export of organic products and processed food, which is not easy. However, the success of India...
Sir, I apologize for interrupting you. Sir, I apologize for interrupting you, but one sense... one wants to also understand that, it's great Cabinet has taken this decision to double farm exports. But can we talk a little bit about the timing? It's coming at a time when, yes, there is a 90-day pause in a trade war call between China and the US. But as part of that pause, Donald Trump has ensured his counterpart is going to buy more agricultural products from the United States. He's tweeted to this effect. It's been accepted by the Chinese Foreign Ministry. And in the midst of all this, you've got India now saying it wants to double farm exports as well. How is all of this going to pan out? I understand, that it's the deadline is 2022, but it's coming in the midst of a time when the world is, whichever side you're on, looking either more round or more flat.
See, the export policies do not, result in transformation overnight, because building up supply chains, the value chains, discussing the possibility of exports, export competitiveness, these things take time. And even though China has imposed tariff on several U.S. agricultural commodities, but our soybean meal exports to China are still not going. Even though our cotton has been going to China, but soybean, we have not succeeded. Similarly, Indian meat is not permitted in China. So, this excitement is justified that we are moving in the right direction, but whether it will yield results in a very short while I'm not very sure about that.
Okay, so of course, you're looking to double agri exports. It can't happen in a short while. But, this government's other main target has been to double farm income. So you yourself have been involved in some crucial policy decisions that have taken place to that effect. This decision to double farm export also coming at a time and few days after we saw a massive protest in the national capital itself. More than 50,000 farmers had descended. Isn't all of this also going to come into play, or would you say that this is a temporary blip prior to elections?
I don't think export policy is, has been framed with elections in mind. It is a very good initiative which has been under discussion for a long time, for several years. And even now, I must say that the policy hasn't really traveled the entire distance, because even now the policy says that in case of sensitive commodities, government can ban their export or impose minimum export prices. So some people have been saying that India has become permanently surplus for agricultural commodities, and yet the government thinks that it needs to take a cautious approach and keep the powers, retain the powers to impose restrictions. It is only the export of organic products and processed food where the government has committed that no restrictions will be imposed. For all other commodities, the government, has retained the right to restrict export. So, in a sense, it is cautious, and yet the government is showing that it would like the exports to substantially increase.